Now, living until nearly 90 could be the norm in another 15 years' time. And the gap between men and women in life expectancy also appears to be narrowing. But according to the latest analysis, where you live influences whether you'll reach a ripe old age. Let's take a look at those figures. The study by Imperial College London is based on official age data and suggests average life expectancy for women will rise from 83.3 years in 2012 to 87.6 in 2030. For men, it's predicted to increase from 79.5 to 85.7 over the same period. The forecasts are higher than those by the Office for National Statistics, but perhaps most striking is the disparity between different areas of the country. People in southern England and affluent parts of London can expect to live 8 years longer than those in northern cities, poorer areas of the capital and South Wales. Let's get more now on this. Julia Manning, she's Chief Executive of 2020 Health, an independent research organisation and a former Conservative Party candidate. Very good morning to you. Let's pick up on the last point there, the disparity in how long you'll live depending on where you live. Now, that's something that you might have expected back in the age of Dickens. Why so?
Well, you're right. We're still seeing significant deprivation in certain areas of the country. You mentioned South East and East London, the North East and North West, South Wales, and then a few areas in the Midlands as well. And what we think is quite astonishing is that we've known this for some time, for decades, that where you live has a real impact on your life expectancy. And what we're wondering is why more has not been done, more funding has not flown to those areas where they need more money because of these inequalities. There is more spent. There's about 10% more spent in areas of known deprivation, but that's obviously not enough. And we think in particular the rhetoric around public health and the importance of reducing inequalities has not been matched by funding.
So what kind of funding, where does the money need to go? To the NHS, to advisory services? Why is it that people live so much longer? We're talking 8 years.
You're absolutely right. The money does need to go into health services, but not just health services. There are two problems in particular. The determinants of health, how healthy we are often outside of the health system. They're about where we live, the housing, the environment, what kind of circumstances we live in. So just to spend in health will not get the results that we're after. So we need to think more broadly. And also we think there's been a systematic neglect of thinking about people's cultural circumstances, because unless you think about people's culture, you're not going to be able to sort of tap into what motivates people, why they should want to live a more healthy life, why they should be bothered about their blood pressure, for instance. So there are some real gaps in actually targeting people and areas. And we have the theory, we have the knowledge, we just haven't put it into practice.
So let's look at the good news. We're all going to live longer, fabulous. But the downside is that we need to be able to sustain that. Society needs to be able to sustain us. So looking ahead, what needs to change now so that in 70, 80 years' time, we can all be supported by the state in the way that we'll need to be?
Well, just to say these figures are predictions, and as the Nobel scientist Niels Bohr said, prediction is difficult, especially when it's about the future. So these are predictions, they're not dead certs. Looking ahead, we need to be thinking about and lots of people have been thinking about it, but it hasn't been followed up with any particular policy suggestions or changes in the way that we do things. But there are going to be many more people. A quarter of the population will be over 65 by 2030. So we know the numbers are going to be really significant in terms of the proportion of the population. That means those drawing pensions will be a much greater proportion looking to receive a state pension. When it comes to health and social care, particularly social care, there are no answers. There isn't an easy answer to having more money in the system to look after people. I think we really need to be emphasising the fact, as many people do already, that actually we need to be looking after each other as much as we can and only looking to the state for support as a last resort. So actually supporting families to stay together, whether that's through our housing system or through just enabling people to live together and be more independent, then those are the things that we need to be thinking about.
OK, Julia Manning, thank you.